Good to see you, Annalise. How are you, dear? Are you okay? Yes?
Hi.
Mhm. Good. How was your weekend?
Good.
Oh, right. Great, Annalise. Did you do your homework? No. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's okay, no problem. Try to do this week, okay? Don't let it accumulate because our test is coming up. We are doing unit 8, so after unit 9, we have a test. So please try to catch up on your homework, okay? All
Okay.
right. So let me ask you a question, Alice. How do you see yourself at school? Now, of course, before the pandemic, right? Because now, during the pandemic, everybody is at home, except for a few people who are going. But most students are having classes online, right? Are you having classes online?
Yes.
Okay, so let's try to remember before the pandemic, when you were going to classes, to presential classes at school. Um, did you consider yourself a popular girl at school or more like the shy student? How did you see yourself at school? Did you have many friends at school?
Entendi.
Mhm. So we have the words popular and unpopular, okay? What is something popular or someone popular? It's usually someone that everybody likes to be around. For example, um, do you watch this reality show, Big Brother?
So.
Okay. So, do you know the name of some participants there? Do you know the name of some or any contestant? Is there anybody there that you know? I mean, because the person is famous. No, you don't remember the names of the participants. So let me tell you now, Annalise, we have, of course, there is always the participant everybody likes, everybody wants this person to win, to be the champion, and there is also the other one who is not so popular. Okay, so now the person people are rooting for, actually people are cheering a lot for this person, is Juliette. Juliette is a participant in this new edition, right? Who is really popular because everybody knows her. And if you go to social medias, you can see her name everywhere. She's super popular, okay? Another one who is very popular is Gilberto. He's also a popular participant. A lot of people know him and follow him on Instagram. So they have both Juliette and Jill, they have a lot of followers. Okay. So um, now I guess you understand my question. What about you at school? Okay, you, Annalise, all right, at school. Were you popular at school or even now online? Hi, Pedro. Good afternoon. Good to see you.
Good
So,
morning,
good afternoon.
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
Yes, that's okay. So, do you understand? Were you or are you popular at school?
What?
I'm asking if Annalise is popular at school.
No, no,
No, you aren't. Okay.
no, you are.
You're shy. So you should say, no, I'm not.
No, I'm not.
Okay. All right. Now let me ask you, Pedro, are you popular at school?
Are you popular? No.
Yes. Yes. You, Pedro. Not me. I'm asking about you. Are you popular? Do you have a lot of friends? People follow
No.
you on social media? No. Okay.
No.
All right. So I'll show you a video to help introduce our lesson today about how you can make people like you. It's an animation, right? But they will kind of try to teach us how to become more popular. Okay. So let's watch this. See if you agree. Okay. Let's see if you agree with that.
Do you want other people to like you? Do you want to become friends with the popular kids or the successful people or even the famous people? Do you want to be the person that everyone else wants to be friends with? Well, you're about to learn the simple trick that will make all of this happen. I want you to think back to your first day of high school where you were feeling nervous and scared because you didn't really know anyone, and seeing all the attractive girls and the popular kids probably made you feel a little shy. And the only thing that you really wanted was to be liked and accepted by the other kids. At least this is how I personally felt. I can still remember looking at those popular kids and thinking to myself how happy and how complete my life would be if I could just hang out with them, or how excited I would feel if I could go to one of their exclusive parties and then I could post pictures with them on social media showing everyone that I was one of the cool kids. Because I really wanted them to like me, I was always very cautious not to say the wrong thing around them or to bring up something that I thought they would think is lame or stupid. This behavior is known as walking on eggshells, and I walked on those eggshells throughout my entire high school life, going all the way into my college years. I did have friends during this time, but even the people who did like me did not like all of me. They liked the parts of me that I was comfortable showing them. I never really opened up about my hobbies that I thought were stupid or my interests that I thought were weird. At that time in my life, the only person who knew the real me was the person who would stare back at me in the mirror every single morning. And I think this is how a lot of people live their lives. When they meet somebody new, they put on their fake public persona. The things that they say and the things that they do will always be influenced by who they are hanging around with. And almost always, they will keep certain things about themselves a secret. And those sharp eggshells are just always there. I think most of us here can agree that we don't really like people who are fake. We don't like it when someone acts overly nice all the time, or when someone pretends to be our friend or pretends to sympathize with us. We don't like people who pretend to be someone who they aren't. But the irony of this is that a lot of people who say they don't like people who are fake are usually, to some extent, fake themselves. But most of the time, they aren't being fake because they are trying to manipulate someone or trying to take advantage of someone. They are being fake because they are scared. They are scared that if they express who they truly are, their family will be disappointed in them, or their friends just won't want to talk to them anymore. They are scared that the world they live in will reject their authentic self, which is a very scary thought for most people. The problem with this, though, is that the longer you walk on those eggshells, the sharper they will become. And if you can't become comfortable living your authentic self, then you will slowly start to lose your sense of identity. In fact, that's how most people are. Their entire identity is just a collection of external influences from things like their parents or their friends or social media or society. However, there is a very small group of people who do live that authentic life that's not based on on fear. And it's these people that are usually liked the most. The simple trick that will get people to like you is to stop consciously trying to get other people to like you. The moment when you can go up to that really attractive girl or that really popular kid or even that famous person without caring if they like you or not is the moment when a lot of them will start to like you, because you will be one of the very few people on planet Earth who is not being fake. Wait, Mitch, what if I meet somebody who is authentically a horrible person or a crazy person who wants to hurt people? Are you saying that I will like them because they are being authentic? No. I'm not saying that. Obviously, there are some exceptions, and of course, there will always be some people who just won't like you no matter what. Maybe you have a single character trait that they just really hate for whatever reason, or I don't know, maybe you remind them in some way of their childhood bully. They might actually be jealous of the fact that you have the power to be authentic and they don't. But most of the time, within reason, if you're being real, people will like you, or at the very least, they will respect and appreciate the fact that you are being authentic as opposed to being fake like most of the world. If you want to actually become that authentic person, then you need to learn how to stop caring what other people think of you. And if you want to learn how to do that, then click the screen now and watch the video that I made on it, and I'll see you there.
That was really cool, wasn't it? You see, it happens to everybody, right? So, hi, Julinha. Good afternoon. You arrived during the video, so I
Hi,
couldn't.
teacher.
Good
Good afternoon.
afternoon, dear. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you. So, guys, what did you think of the video? Did you understand the message?
Yes.
A mensagem que ele quer passar é como é que faz parte, sei lá, né? Popular.
Yes, and also the reason why um, most of us don't become popular or don't have people around us because we are trying to please by being something that we aren't. So we kind of hide behind our real self because we are afraid of disappointing, right?
Teacher,
So
você rapidinho um pouquinho aqui, calma aí, eu posso sair?
yes, of course. And come back,
Thank you.
okay? So here the video said something like, I like people who are real or authentic. Okay? So is it easy to be real and authentic all the time? Unfortunately, not always, because we are always afraid of disappointing, right? So this is one of the statements that I got from the video, and this is why they say we sometimes don't get as many admirers as we wish, or we have a hard time sometimes making new friends. Okay, so and here, let's write a negative sentence, right? So we can say here, I don't like people who are fake. All right. So this is another thing they said in the video. I don't like people who are fake. So, as much as we say that we don't like people who are fake, we sometimes behave like this because we are scared. We are afraid of rejection and of disappointing other people. So, it's tricky. So, why am I talking about it? Because this is our topic today. We are going to learn how to make relative clauses, how to connect sentences or clauses using relative pronouns. Okay, so if you have your books, open them to page 52. All right, language practice, unit 8. Let's go there. All right, it's clear to everyone. Okay, guys, so first, let's see some examples. Who are you talking to? Oh, I'm talking to a guy who lives in California. Or I can also say, I'm talking to a guy that lives in California. So, as you remember, this sentence was taken from the conversation we saw on Thursday last week. So, remember Emily and her friend, yes, at school. Mhm. So, Emily was talking to a guy who lives in California, and she was talking online. Okay, yes. So here we have another example, still talking about people. I like people who are creative. And I can also say I like people that are creative. So when I'm talking about people, when I'm referring to people, I can use, let me just get the marker here, the relative pronoun who or that. Here, look, who or that. Okay, so like we saw in the video, we generally like people who are authentic. We like people who are real. They are usually more popular. Okay, now what happens when we talk about things? So let's see some examples. Which company does he work for? He works for a company which makes computers. I can also say he works for a company that makes computers. Another example, I prefer movies which teach me something. Or I can also say I prefer movies that teach me something. Great, very nice. So, which relative pronouns can I use when I'm referring to things? Let's check them out. I can use which or that. Okay, and here again, which or that. So if I'm referring to people, I use who or that. If I'm referring to things, I can use which or that. So then you can say, oh, Simone, so I'll be on the safe side. I will use that for everything, people and things, right? So I can use that in both situations, right? So we need to be careful because that is more informal, okay? And who and which, they're more formal. So when we are writing, when we are even speaking, depending on who we are talking to, we should be more formal. So here we have both examples, right? Not that using that would be wrong, but it's just more informal, right? So let's see some other examples, okay? I posted for you here on our page on Google Classroom some images with examples. Let's check it out. Okay, can you see that, people? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so here we have other relative clauses besides just who or that, or which or that. So, as you saw in our book, here we have the same ones again. Who or that refer to people. Which or that refer to objects. Whose refers to possession. So we didn't have an example with whose in the book, but we use whose when I'm referring to a possession. When refers to moment in time, and where refers to a place. All right, let's see another one. So here we can have some more examples using those relative clauses. The first one, who for people. Example, this is a boy. He is my friend. So this is a boy who is my friend. So as you noticed, we link two sentences together using a relative pronoun. Okay? Here I'm talking about a boy. So it's a person. I have to use who, or I can also use that. So let's see here. Which? Another one. There is a park in New York. It is Central Park. So the park which is in New York is Central Park. So now I'm referring to a park. So we should use which. Okay. Now let's see that we use for people and things. Example, this is a man. He lives across the street. This is the man that lives across the street. I'm referring to the man, so I can use here who or that. Okay? Now, look at my car. I bought the car yesterday. Look at the car that I bought yesterday. So here I can use that as well. No problem because I'm referring to a car. Now let's see whom. This one is new for you. We use that for people, object, preposition when I'm referring to an indirect object. Let's see an example. This is a boy. I want to see him. So this is a boy whom I want to see. Because here we have after the verb want, I have I want and then to see a boy. Okay, I want to see him. So here we have uh, a kind of indirect object. I don't know if you remember that from Portuguese, but indirect objects, they have preposition. Okay, so here I want to see the boy. So when I'm referring to this indirect object, which in this case here is the boy, then I use whom. Okay, this is a boy. I want to speak with him. So you see, with is a preposition. So when I put them together, I should use the relative pronoun whom, especially if I put the preposition together. Look, this is a boy with whom I want to speak. Guys, this is formal, okay? It's not like colloquial conversation. It's a it's a very formal conversation, okay? It's a formal sentence. So, but just for you to know that it's possible to use whom, but especially when I'm referring to an indirect object, okay? Now, whose I use for possession. Example, this is a boy. I borrowed his book. So this is a boy whose book I borrowed. So here I'm talking about his book, even though the sentence is this is a boy, but I'm referring to the book I borrowed. Okay, so this is a boy whose book I borrowed. Okay, in Portuguese, the word whose is equivalent to cujo or cuja. Okay, guys. All right, Julia, Pedro, and Annalise. Okay,
Okay,
Ok.
teacher.
right.
Okay.
So let's see the next one. I can also use where as a relative pronoun when I'm referring to a place. Example, this is the house. I lived there when I was a child. So, this is the house where I lived when I was a child. So, I put both clauses together, and because I'm talking about a place, I should use the relative pronoun where. Okay, now next one. Let me try to. Okay, I think now it's better for you to see, right? It was too small. The last one here, when. We use when we are referring to time, okay? So, example, I will always remember the day we met, that day. So, I will always remember the day when we met. So I use when because I'm talking about a day when we met. So here is the most appropriate. Okay. This exercise, or actually this poster, was taken from ISL Collective. Okay. They have a lot of lessons there. They are really good. Okay, guys. So let's see our book again. Okay. So let's match the information to make complete sentences. The first one, I like to have fun. So I prefer people that make me laugh. So letter D is the best one here. I prefer people that make me laugh. Good. Number two, I'm a quiet person. So I'm looking for someone. What do you think is the best option? A, B, or C?
Si.
Great, Pedro. Very good. Letter C is the best option. My C is not so good. Let me try a better letter C here because I'm writing with the mouse.
Parece o J.
Yes, that's true. Let me try to make it like a letter C. Now it's better. So I'm looking for someone who doesn't talk much. Perfect. Number three, I don't like parties, but I went to a reception.
Mm, that make me. Ah, não, já foi, já foi.
Mhm.
Uh, which was really interesting.
Great, Julia. Very good. Letter A. All right. Perfect. So, I don't like expensive things. So, don't give me gifts.
That make me laugh.
That's funny. Yes, Pedro, that make me laugh was used in number one. So, but that would be good for this one as well, right? So don't give me gifts that make me laugh. Of course, that would be good. But here, I'm really talking about the value. I'm talking about how much money you are going to spend if you want to give me something. So I'm just saying, listen, I don't like expensive things. So don't give me gifts. Letter B. Okay. That cost too much. All right. I don't want anything that is expensive, right? So let's highlight the relative pronouns here, okay, in this exercise. So the first one, I prefer people that make me laugh. So which one here is the relative pronoun in letter D? Okay, guys. Yes? So,
My goodness.
which one? Which one is the relative pronoun? What do you think? Letter D.
Um, that
Yes. Very nice, Julinha. This is the relative pronoun, okay, for sentence number one. So I prefer people that make me laugh. As we saw here, I can use that or who to refer to people, okay? Now, number two, I'm a quiet person, so I'm looking for someone who doesn't talk much. Which one here is the relative pronoun? Here in letter C. Take a look here at the examples. Which one is the relative pronoun? Yes, if you said who, you're right. Who is the relative pronoun, okay? Because I'm referring to someone, okay? So I don't like parties, but I went to a reception. Which one is the relative pronoun? Which? Yes, very good, guys. And finally, I don't like expensive things, so don't give me gifts.
That.
Okay, great. Fantastic. So here we highlighted the relative pronouns that introduce a relative clause. Okay, now let's move on to number two. Rewrite the sentences, use who or which. Remember that who we use to refer to people and which we use to refer to things. Okay? Number one, he's a very generous person. He gives his time to everyone. So, example, He's a very generous person who gives his time to everyone. So I'm referring here to a person. So I have to use the relative pronoun who. Now let's see number two. We met at the new cafe. It has paintings by local artists on the walls. So let's rewrite the sentence, okay? We met at the new cafe. Now, how can I connect the two sentences? Which pronoun should I use? We have two options. We have who or which. Which one do you think we should
Each.
use here?
Each.
Okay, great, Pedro. Uh-huh. Which, and then I use the verb. I don't need to use this pronoun here. Which has paintings by local artists on the wall. Okay, so we met at the new cafe, which has paintings by local artists on the wall. Here I'm using which to connect the two sentences because, and the two clauses, because I'm referring to something and not to someone, not a person. Okay? Now, number three, I met a very attractive woman online. She works for a TV company. So let's see. So the best thing to do is to start writing the first clause. So I met a very attractive woman online. Now, how can I connect the first clause to the other? How can I make the connection? Which one am I going to use? Who or which?
Who?
Okay, very nice, Pedro. Why?
Why? Porque não é o pronome.
Very good, Pedro. So why? Why am I using who here? Because I'm referring to a woman, a person.
Yeah.
It's a person, right? So who
Yeah.
works for a TV company, okay? Now, next one we have there. There is a new dating website. It looks really interesting. So let's see. There's a new dating website. Now, how can I connect the first clause and the second clause? The first to the second. How can I connect? I have two options, who or which.
Which?
Yes, Pedro, congratulations.
Very
Great.
nice.
Which looks really interesting. The rest I just copied. So I'm using which because I'm referring to a dating website. So it's a thing. Okay? All right. So now let's highlight the relative pronouns we chose. So I'm going to mark here in the first one, the relative pronoun. Number two, the relative pronoun is which. Number three, which one is the relative pronoun? Who?
Um,
Yes. Number four.
which?
Okay, great. All right. So just for us to focus more on the relative clauses and how we can begin a relative clause, right? It all depends on what I'm referring to. If I'm referring to a person, we use who or sometimes that. If I'm referring to a thing, then I use which or sometimes that. Okay? All right. You can take a picture if you wish, or you can print screen, whatever you prefer. Okay. So can I clear? All right.
Yes,
Yes, teacher.
teacher. Very nice.
Okay. Great. So let me just clear these ones here. So now use relative clauses to complete the sentences. Then tell your partner. Number one, a good friend is someone, a good teacher is a person, a good neighbor is someone, and a good boss is someone. So, which relative pronoun should I use with these sentences here, with these clauses? Here we have one example. A good friend is someone who listens. A good friend is someone who listens. I'm referring to a person. So that's why I should use the relative pronoun who. Now, let's try to complete the second one. A good teacher is a person. Let's write it down here. Sorry, guys, I'm sorry. So let's complete that together. A good teacher is a person who, any idea? No? Okay. So let me help you there. A good teacher is a person
The
who
person who intelligent.
is intelligent. Yes, very good. We just have to put the verb, okay? Don't forget the verb. Here, it's the verb to be. So it's important to remember. So very nice, Julinha. A good teacher is a person who is intelligent. All right. Now, number three, a good neighbor is someone.
Teacher,
Yes.
o que é neighbor mesmo?
Good question. Let's see, Pedro. What's the meaning of neighbor? Do you know?
Vizinho?
Yes, that's it, Pedro.
Hum,
A neighbor is someone who lives close to you.
não, um
Maybe,
bom vizinho, teacher. A
yes.
good neighbor is someone is quiet.
Okay, so don't forget the relative pronoun. Is someone who, okay, is quiet. Okay. I agree, Julinha. I totally agree. A good neighbor is someone who is quiet. Great. Now let's see number four. A good boss is someone, let's go there.
Someone who is respect you.
Okay, so here we can say, if we are going to say the quality, we have to use the verb to be. So let's first make the sentence using an adjective, okay? A quality. So a boss is someone who is respectful, right? A good boss is someone who is respectful. Okay. Now, if I want to use the verb respect, so let's make another sentence here.
Ô, teacher.
Yes.
Tipo, a pessoa confunde, acha que ser chefe acha que é tratar os funcionários mal, né?
Yes, that's true, Pedro. So now using the verb to respect, okay? So a good boss is someone who respects you, okay? All right, Julinha. So here I'm using the verb in the third person singular because I'm talking about someone. It's singular, okay? So that's why I use the verb respect with the S. The same way I use the verb to be in the third person, okay? So a good boss is someone who is respectful, or a good boss is someone who respects you. Okay, guys, so if you want, you can take a picture. Let me just put the number here that I forgot. Oh, this is number two, actually. I'm sorry about that. Okay, now I think it's easier for you to understand. Okay. All right, people. Good. So now let's have some tips on pronunciation. Okay, how to say those clauses, right? Correctly. So we will see now word stress and content words. So do you know the meaning of word stress? What is word stress? Does anybody know? So, word stress is the word we put more emphasis on when we speak. So, in a sentence, there is always one or maybe even two words that we emphasize more. Okay, so this is word stress. Content words. Does anybody know? So content words are words
Mhm.
that give us the content of the sentence. They are like the most important words in a sentence. Example, nouns, okay, verbs, sometimes even adverbs are considered content words, but usually adjectives, nouns, adverbs, and verbs because they give the meaning of the sentence. Okay, so let's take a look here. First of all, I'd like you to read the four sentences in silence. See if you understand. Okay, let's do it.
Sorry, teacher, my connection very bad
Oh, Pedro, I'm so
because
sorry.
eu não sei.
Okay, but did you get the instructions to?
Aí,
Mhm. Did you get the
aí fica
instructions to
saindo
read?
direto, teacher, direto, é que o áudio trava.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see, Pedro. Can you see the page? Is it clear for you? Is the page okay for you on your screen? Can you see that? Can you see the page?
Yeah,
Okay. So
yeah.
take a look at some words here. Okay. Do you have any questions? Sorry. Do you have any questions concerning vocabulary? No? Is everything okay? Yes? Good. So, first of all, let's identify the relative pronouns. Okay? So, let's check it out here. In the first one, which one is the relative pronoun? Yes, great. If you said that, you are correct. Good. Number two, which one here is the relative pronoun?
Who?
Yes,
Who?
great. Congratulations. Number three, which one is the
Who?
relative pronoun? Mhm. And number four,
That.
great. So as you noticed, the relative pronouns are not the stressed words. As you can see here, the words they underlined, they didn't underline the relative pronouns. So we don't emphasize them when we speak, okay? And they aren't even content words, okay? So they aren't content words either. The other ones are, but the relative pronouns, they don't really give a content to the sentence. They link sentences, they are linkers, but they are not content words, right? That's why they are not underlined. So now we are going to listen to the sentences so you notice how we emphasize the other words. Okay, so just a moment, let's get it there. I'll get the audio for you.
Notice the stress on content words. 1,
I like movies that are funny.
2,
I prefer people who like sports.
3,
I'm talking to a guy who lives in Florida.
4,
He works for a store that sells computers.
Okay, yes. Did you notice how they emphasize the content words? Yes. Good. I'll play that one more time so we can practice. All right? Listen.
1,
I like movies that are funny.
2,
I prefer people who like sports.
3,
I'm talking to a guy who lives in Florida.
4,
He works for a store that sells computers.
Okay, so let's repeat the sentences with the right stress and intonation, right? I like movies that are funny.
I like movies that are funny.
Great. Very nice. Pedro, I prefer people who like sports.
I I prefer people who like sport.
Okay, good. Now, Annalise, I'm talking to a guy who lives in Florida.
I'm talking to a guy who lives in Florida.
Great, Annalise. Very good. Now, number four, Julia. He works for a store that sells computers.
He works for a store that sells computers.
All right, guys. Well done. Really good. So, as you noticed, there are some words that we stress more than others, and especially the content words, all right? And the relative pronouns are not stressed, okay? Very nice. So let's zoom out here. Good. And so we are done with this page, but we should check something else. So if you have your books, please open it up to page 132. 132. This is the exercise from Unit 8, the grammar focus exercise. Okay, so here we have defining relative clauses. So this is exactly what we studied. All right. Okay. So here's the sun coming right on my face. So let's just zoom in, try to understand this a little bit more. Okay, guys. All right. So let's see that. We can use relative clauses to identify, define, or classify a thing or a person. So we can use relative clauses to identify, define, classify a thing or a person. Okay, guys. Example, I like people who are reliable. So, do you understand the meaning of reliable? Do you remember that word? Yes. So reliable means that it's someone you can count on because you know the person will do as you said or will do his or her job well. You can count on her or him. So reliable. Example, I like people who are reliable. Okay? Next one, I work at a store that sells computer games. I work at a store that sells computer games. So here we have another example, right, of relative clause here. So who and here that, because I'm talking about a store, okay? Here I'm talking about people. All right, that I can use for people or for things, and who I can use for people only. Okay, guys. So we use relative pronouns who which, and that to introduce defining relative clauses. So, relative clauses that define something. So, who is for people, which for things, and that for either people or things. Example, I like people who are fun. I like people who are fun. I can also say I like people that are fun. This is a company which makes computers. This is a company which makes computers. But I can also say this is a company that makes computers. All right? Because I'm referring to a thing. So who, which, and that refer back to the thing or person they identify, define, or classify. Can you read the examples, please, Juliana? Here, I have
Okay, teacher. I have a friend who is very artistic. I work.
artistic.
Okay. I have a friend who is very artistic. I work at a store that sells
Great,
video game.
Juliana. Thank you. So here we have the relative pronouns. Now, the verb in a subject relative clause agrees in number with the noun in the main clause. So let's try to understand this. They are talking here about the verb, okay? So let's identify the verb in the sentences here. I know a guy who speaks many languages. So let's identify the verb in the relative clause. Which 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 word here is the verb in the relative
Mm,
clause?
who?
Who is the relative clause? Now I'm asking about the verb.
Okay, the verb. Speaks.
Great. Excellent. And now, which one is the verb in the second example?
Speak.
Good. All right, people. So here we have the verbs, right? I'm just changing the color so you don't mix it up, right? The verb in a subject relative clause agrees a number with the noun in the main clause. So look at the noun. I know a guy who speaks many languages. So a guy speaks. I need to agree with the noun. Next example, I know some people who speak many languages. So now here I have to use speak because the subject here, I mean the noun, not the subject, but the noun is in the plural. Some people. So if that's plural, I have to use the correct verb. I agree with the noun, okay? A guy speaks. Some people speak. Let's have some more examples. Let me write down here two more examples, okay? I know a girl who the piano. I know a girl who the verb I have to use here is the verb to play, okay? So how can I complete
Play
this?
the piano.
Ah, okay, very nice. So let me write that again because I accidentally erased. So I know a girl who, okay. So Oh my God, it's not saving my sentence. I don't know why. This is so crazy. Let me try again, guys. Let me see what's happening. Just a second. I know a girl who, oops, I almost gave you the answer. Yeah, it's not staying there. Anyway, guys, in this case here, I will not delete, I will just write and keep it this way, okay? I know a girl who plays the piano. Okay, that would be the sentence. I have to use plays, like Julinha said, because I'm talking about a girl. So the verb agrees with the noun that comes before. A girl plays. Let's have another example. For example, okay,
Who sings?
let's see that.
Who
So look,
sing?
okay. I met some friends who,
Because friends is in plural.
very good. So I met some friends who sing at karaoke bars. So who sing is the best way to complete, because here I have to agree with the noun that comes before. So a girl plays. Some friends sing. All right. Okay, guys. So after that, let's see, in a subject relative clause, we don't use a personal subject pronoun. So what is, guys, first of all, a personal subject pronoun? Do you know? Let me highlight this information here for you. Look, a personal subject pronoun. Do you know the pronouns that we have? Example, I, you, he, she, it, we, you, and they. So these are the personal subject pronouns. Okay? So in these relative clauses, we do not use personal subject pronouns. Example, I like people who are friendly. So here I'm talking about people. The verb is agreeing, okay? So in the plural, I have to use are if it's the verb to be, because it's an adjective, friendly. So I'm not going to say who is. I have to say who are, because I'm referring to people. But in this sentence here, I can't use a subject pronoun. I can't use, for example, I like people who they are friendly. That is impossible, okay? I can't use pronouns here. I mean, subject pronouns, okay? All right, people. So let's move on to the exercise. Oh my God, time is up. So I'm going to ask you to do the exercises for homework on page 132. All right, people. So don't
All right.
forget, let's take a picture before we go, shall we?
Yes,
Let's do
teacher.